Hey everybody, welcome to Outpost Unknown's review of Final Destination Bloodlines. This is the sixth installment of the Final Destination franchise, I believe. Directed by Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein. Zach Lipovsky, famous for directing Leprechaun Origins way back in 2014. So this movie has been getting a ton of positive buzz. If you look at Rotten Tomatoes, I think the last time I looked, it was like at 90% critics and 80 something percent audience. So obviously, this is one of those things that consensus is this is a good movie. I went to go see it at my local cinema this evening, and I am here to report that it is indeed a good movie. The Final Destination franchise, in my opinion, has always been one of those franchises it's just fun to sort of see the crazy ways in which death offs the victims, right? So the basic setup of Bloodlines is the same as every other Final Destination movie. An individual cheats death, and in this particular case saves many, many, many people from death. And it has taken decades and decades and decades for death to ultimately take out all of these people that were saved, and then all of the subsequent family members that were created from those original saved people in order to complete death's grand design, right? So you have that basic sort of premise, the opening sort of intro scene. That's what a good Final Destination movie is really judged by, is the two things: the opening scene in which we see the crazy machinations that death goes through to kill a bunch of people or try to kill a bunch of people, and then throughout the course of the movie, the deaths themselves, right? The kills, how intricate and gory and crazy and weird and fun and exciting are the deaths that happen, because really there's no storyline per se to this. Bloodlines tries to make a story in the sense that there is this young college girl. She was an honor student in high school, but she is essentially on academic probation now. She's failing her classes because she keeps having this reoccurring nightmare every single night of her grandma, who she never met, way back in the day, who died in a horrible way. On top of, basically, it's kind of like Space Needle type thing, a building way back in the day. The film opens in like the 1960s or something like that. 50s or 60s, and it's a guy taking his girlfriend on a date to the grand opening of what I think they call it Skyview or something, but it's essentially the Space Needle, kind of like in Seattle sort of thing. And of course, they get up to the top and all hell breaks loose. The glass floor cracks, there's explosions, there's all this, and the grandma dies, but the girl wakes up. That's what she wakes up from the dream, and she doesn't understand why she's having these dreams, and it's causing chaos in her life. Ultimately, what we come to find out is grandma didn't actually die, and we sort of go on this whole sort of journey of like everybody that's in this girl's family is marked for death, because none of them were supposed to ever exist, because the grandma way back in the day stopped hundreds upon hundreds of people from dying, and now it's killed all of those people, and now it's hunting down her family. And it's her again trying to convince people that this is real, that this is actually going on. So the storyline, it's kind of cool in that they gave it a little twist. It's an actual family that death is hunting down now. I appreciated it. I don't think there's a whole lot more you can do with the quote unquote story of Final Destination, because really the story is not the important thing here, right? The opening scene, awesome. They do some. I won't spoil any of the deaths in this movie, because I think some of them are pretty damn cool. Like, I got to be honest, I've seen a lot of deaths in horror movies, and I think there are some deaths that are really, really awesome in this. There is a particular death involving, I'll just say, a piano in the opening scene that got the audience just really pumped when we were watching it. It's cool to watch this kind of movie with a crowd, with an audience, because you can gauge how effective the movie is based on the enthusiasm or lack thereof of the audience participation. And the piano got a big rise from the audience that I was watching in. Many other. I mean, obviously there's a kill in here. I don't even want to spoil the setup to this. I'm sure if you've watched reviews, you will probably people are talking about a specific kill, and that's that particular kill. I'm not even going to spoil it. Avoid whatever. Avoid reviews. Just go into this blind. I was like, this is such a cool kill. Like, this is one of the, you watch stuff like, what is it, In a Violent Nature or whatever, and people are talking about like the yoga mat kill and like all of that stuff. There's a kill here that's super, super creative. Takes place in a hospital. That's all I'll say. Takes place in a hospital. And I was just like, wow. I mean, I was very, very impressed with that particular kill. But yeah, it's a fun movie. It's one of those. I made like $50 million at the box office, and I don't, for the life of me, understand why it's taken 15 years to make another one of these movies. These sorts of horror franchises, Scream had a long sabbatical and now it's back, and we seem to be getting a new Scream movie every couple years. Why don't they bring back? I understand like Friday the 13th has been under legal issues and who's got the rights and who doesn't, and they're going to bring Friday the 13th back in some form now that all that's settled. But stuff like A Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like, you know, there's no reason these types of movies can't come out once every 2, 3, 4 years. You know, put like a early Blumhouse budget of $5 million on a Nightmare on Elm Street movie and just fill it with practical effects and put a new one out every 3 or 4 years. Guarantee you're going to make your money. I don't understand why these companies don't do that. So it's good to see Final Destination back. I will say that Tony Todd makes a wonderful appearance in the film, and it's sad because obviously we know Tony Todd just passed away. It appears it was cancer related, and you can tell when you see him on screen. Like, he's incredibly gaunt. He still sounds awesome. He's still got the presence. Just his sheer charisma and presence on screen kind of usurps the clearly sick nature that he was in when he filmed this. But they kind of weave it into something that is happening to another character in the film that is mentioned earlier to kind of all make it make sense. And he has a very nice sort of goodbye to the fans, which I really, really appreciated. And I think I was reading that the directors of this said that they just rolled the camera on him and at the very end of the scene said, just say something from the heart which you'd want to tell all your fans. And I think when you sort of see the gravity of what state he was in when he filmed this and kind of the words that he leaves to the fans, I think it'll be very impactful and a powerful moment for a lot of horror fans, especially Tony Todd fans. I mean, we've all loved Tony Todd over the years. And so he goes out very sort of respectfully in this, which I appreciated and I was very thankful for. When I saw the initial things like Tony Todd's going to be in this movie, I was like, oh gosh, is this going to be something that, they're not going to treat his sort of final appearance with respect, but the filmmakers did. And I really, really appreciated that. The characters are pretty fun here. Most of them are just kind of one note. Richard Harmon shows up here as this kind of I don't know if he's like goth punk guy who gets into a lot of shenanigans, a lot of like close but no cigar type moments that keeps the audience on the edge. And I will say one funny thing about this is the funniness of it. This was actually hilarious in spots. People who know me know I'm not a big comedy guy, but there are points in this where I just started laughing. There's a moment in the hospital where two characters are trying to decide what they're going to do next. I won't spoil it, but it was hilarious. And these two actors just played this sort of joke perfectly. There's other moments in this that are played for comedic value, not because, hey, we're just trying to be funny, but a natural comedic moment when characters are finding out things about themselves they didn't know before. And so it just works. So it's one of those cool things where the horror genre can balance horror and oh my gosh, all these horrible things are happening to people while also maintaining like those darkly comedic moments that sort of lift the tension a little bit when you're watching it. So, where I would rank this in terms of Final Destination movies, honestly, I'd have to go back and rewatch the first five again. It's been a while since I watched them, but I'd probably put this right up there with the very first one. I have fond memories of the first one. How well does it hold up now? Again, I'd have to go back and rewatch it. But this was a really fun time. So my recommendation, a big thumbs up to Final Destination Bloodlines. I would give this, if I was going to rate it, probably a B plus. I think some of the kills are A plus. There's multiple kills in this movie that are A plus. The only thing that I think that I would really downgrade the movie on is there's a little bit you get a little bit of CG blood action going on, which um I obviously no horror fan likes that. We don't like CG blood in our movies. However, I will say some of the kills were so creative that I could get past the CG nature of some of them. And I think that just sometimes, this story has been told now six different times. And in those moments where we're waiting for the next kill to sort of happen, it's just kind of like you're just going by the numbers here, right? It's like, okay, I've seen this five previous times. How many times do I have to see someone trying to convince the other person that death is chasing them or after them? How many times do I have to see them repeat the same, basically recap the first five movies over to people? It's like, okay, I'm an audience member. I already know. I've already seen this. I understand there's new people coming to the Final Destination franchise that might not be aware, but to me, it's just kind of like, all right, I've seen this, but the film is really really cool. Go support it. I mean, as horror fans, we want to see more quality stuff like this in the theaters, and it's always nice when we get to see some really gory, big budget Hollywood movie. So go support it so that Hollywood knows we want to see more of this kind of stuff. So yeah, Final Destination Bloodlines, B plus for me. Leave a comment down below. What did you think of this Final Destination movie, and where would you rank your Final Destination franchise? Would you put it up to the top, or did you think this was just kind of more of the same? Let me know down below. Thanks for listening. Hit that like and subscribe, or death will get you.